What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brent, and today I'm going to be breaking down light ratios, but I will be adding in a third light. So we'll be going through 1 light, 2 light, and 3, and how our ratios really play with one another and control our image. All light ratios is the contrast between our key light and our fill light, or our key light, fill light, and edge light in this case. I have Emily in the studio with me today. We're excited to get into this content, so let's hop right in. So my camera settings are going to be as follows. I am going to be using an aperture of f5.6. I'm going to use a shutter speed of 1/250th, and my ISO is going to be at 100. And the first thing that I want to do is take a few photos with just our key light on. So I'm going to be using medium shots to illustrate what we have going on here. And our key light is on Emily's left side, looking at me. 3, 2. We're here. 3, 2. And we have that key light in the Rembrandt position. It is a large softbox with a grid on the inside. And all we're trying to do is just get our levels started in the beginning. So this is a 0:1 ratio because there is no fill light. So there is actually no type of contrast ratio going on, and we're not able to control what's going on the right side of Emily's face. What we're having here is a nice shed of Rembrandt lighting and creating a nice highlight on the right side of her nose, but the shadow contrast we don't necessarily have a ton of control over. So this is what it looks like when you just have that 1 light setup in the Rembrandt position. You could bring in a V-flat if you wanted to, but that's not the purpose of today's video. We want that ultimate control. So now let's see what it looks like when we add in our second light, which in this case is going to be our fill. If you're looking to elevate your studio photography lighting, look no further. Click the link in my bio as the studio lighting bundle is now live. 24 different lighting setups, light ratios, cheat sheet, detail behind the scenes, light placement, gonna go over how to meter lights. This is the bundle of a lifetime. I'm gonna do strobes and constant lights all in the same bundle. I don't wanna waste any more of your time. Let's get back to the content. So we have now added in our fill light, which is going to be equipped with a 36-inch softbox. This one does not have a grid on it, and our power is as such. My key light is set to 1/8 plus 0.6, and my fill light is set to 1/8 plus 0.4. The first thing that I'm going to show you is a 1:1 ratio. So what does that mean? That means that my key light is metered to f5.6 because my aperture on my camera is f5.6, and my fill light as well is measured to f5.6. So this is what an image looks like when you are doing a 1:1 ratio. 3, 2, get one more here, 2. And what you'll see is that we get a full and even illumination of Emily, which is to be expected. But when you do have both of your lights metered to the exact same f-stop, you will get a little bit of crossover. Light does not just stay on its side of the face. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take each light down just a little bit so that we end up with an overall f5.6 metering. So I'm gonna go down 0.3. on each light. So we'll go down to 1/8 plus 0.3, and then we'll go down to 1/8 plus 0.1. Yeah, 3, 2, 3, 2. And now we get a much more even exposure, right? Your subject is not going to be quite as overexposed, but this is what a 1:1 ratio would look like if you have both of the lights metered to the exact same f-stop. Now let's get into some of the more contrasty light ratios that we can do: 2:1, 4:1, 8:1. And I'm going to show you some examples of what it looks like to control your contrast using just your fill light. So I have now reset the power of both my key and fill back to their original 5.6 meter. So we are back to 1/8 plus 0.6 and 1/8 plus 0.4. But we do want to start to increase the drama. So I'm going to take my fill light down 1 full stop. So that is going to take me down to 1/16 plus 0.4. And what this is going to give us is a 2:1 ratio. All that means is that our fill light is 1 stop under our key. So it is now metered to f4. And this is what that image looks like. Looking straight at me. Yeah. 3, 2. Gonna go one more here. 3, 2. And you will immediately start to see that we are bringing in a little bit of contrast on Emily's right side, but we can take that even further. I'm going to take my fill light down another stop. So we're going to go to 132 plus 0.4. This is going to give us a 4:1 ratio. 4:1 ratio being 2 stops under our key. 3, 2. Nice. 3, 2. All right. And we can take that one step further. We're going to go 8:1. So I'm now at 164 plus 0.4, 3, 2, 3, 2. And typically for me, I like to stay around that 4-to-1 ratio. I kind of like what that contrast does, but this is exactly how you are able to control your light ratios. Once you get that 1-to-1 figured out, now all the work is done on the trigger, and you can start to really see what those shadows are doing on the opposite side of your model's face, depending on which side you decide to be your key. I could switch this side to be my key and just meter this side to 5.6 and control shadows on this side. It doesn't really matter which side that you choose, but now let's bring in a third light and see how that starts to affect our ratios, and is it even as complicated as you might think. So we're going to add in an edge light now and see how we meter in our third light. So for this example, I am going to be bringing in my edge light, and my edge light is going to be across from my key. So we are all familiar with the cross lighting setup, broke that down on the last tutorial Tuesday. So that will be linked in the card above. But the first thing that I want to show you is what these two lights are doing together. 9 times out of 10, when I bring in a third light, I want to really see what that light is doing before I bring in my fill. So right now I have my key light metered to f5.6, and I also have my fill light metered to f5.6. So the power 1/8 plus 0.6, and my fill light is 1/4 plus 0.7. So let's get a test image here so you can really see what that light is doing. Look straight at me, 3, 2, one more here, 2. So we're gonna see that our fill light, or edge light in this case, is immediately bringing Emily off of the background. But 1-to-1 for me in this type of scenario isn't really most ideal. So I'm gonna take my edge light down 1 stop. So now we're gonna be at 1/8 plus 0.7. So let's see what that cross lighting does, right? 2-to-1, let's see what that cross lighting does. 3, 2, 3, 2. Perfect. So now we get a nice edge on Emily's right shoulder, but it's not too much, right? It's not wrapping around like crazy. But as you all know from the cross lighting video, when you add in that edge light, you do get a little bit of a wrap. Now, the way that I like to meter in or control my ratios for a 3-light setup, I am still going to be doing it as if it is a 2-light ratio. What do I mean by that? So we're set up 2-to-1 here now. So we have our edge light metered to f4. I'm going to bring in my fill at an 8-to-1. Why am I going to bring it in at 8-to-1? Because I do not want my fill to overpower the edge. I personally like to have my edge a little bit more powerful than the fill so that you can really see that edge and allow it to bring the subject off of the background. So we're going to bring in our fill light at that 8-to-1 ratio. So it is going to be at 1/64 plus 0.4. Same settings, f5.6, ISO 100, and my shutter speed is 1/250. So here we go. 3, 2. Over here, 3, 2. And what starts to happen as we bring in that fill light is we are creating a more balanced image where we can literally do whatever we want. So I'll show you what it looks like if I bring my fill light up 2 stops. So I'm gonna bring her up 2 stops here to 1/16 plus 0.4. And now we can get a little bit more of a balanced portrait. 3, 2, 3, 2. If you don't want to create quite as much drama, you want that portrait to be a lot more balanced. Maybe you have a client who wants things to be a little bit more cutesy, even lighting. It might be something like e-commerce or things along that nature. But this is kind of how you start to balance bringing in that third light. All the third light is doing is giving you some sort of contrast or some sort of, a little edge, a little push, a little, how would you say, cherry on top to the setup that you already have. And don't get it twisted. This does not have to be your B light. In a lot of cases, when I'm using this particular setup, the edge light is actually my B light because that one is typically going to be metered a little bit higher than my fill. I like to use fill as literally just a marker to control the shadows on the opposite side of my subject's face. I very rarely want to flat light the front of my subject and then just use my edge light or my backlight as the lower part of the ratio, but that's up to you. You do have that option. You can bring these lights in and use them however you want. There are some cases where maybe your edge light is going to be your key, but the biggest thing that you want to do when you are bringing in a third, a fourth, a fifth light, doesn't really matter, is as long as you are metered correctly on your key and you use the lights one by one. I want to really emphasize this. Bring your lights in one by one as you meter them. Take an image with the 2 lights. Okay, cool. Bring in the 3rd light so you can really see what these lights are doing. The biggest thing is developing that eye to see what each light is doing and knowing within your mood board or whatever, is it playing its part? And if it's doing so, perfect. This was light ratios explained as easily as possible with one of the most common 3 light setups that you can use. Hope this was very helpful to you, but this is light ratios explained. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for another video. This was light ratios explained using 2 and 3 light setups. A lot of times when we use light ratios, we get a little bit confused when we start to add in that 3rd light, but it's all about intention and what it is that you want to do with your final image. Again, if you are wanting to elevate your studio photography lighting, click the link in my bio. The studio lighting bundle is now live. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video.